Welcome to Midnight Expressions. I'm Lauren Remington, and today I wanted to share some techniques that I've learned, and thanks to several sources, some on the internet and some just visiting with some friends. Anyway, I love lace. I just love lace, and I think it's really pretty on cards, depending on the type of cards you're going for. And of course, you can buy it at the fabric store. That can get pretty spendy. The other thing is it's fun to make things, and that's something I discovered late in life. There are some dies you can buy if you like to do die cutting, which I really enjoy, because the results are always so professional. That's why I like doing die cutting. I also have a cutter machine. You can do it on your cutter machine. That's kind of tricky depending on the cutter you have. Even with a really great cutter like Black Cat Cougar or the Bullet or some of these, upper end cutters, to get the fine detail that's required for a really nice lace, it's difficult. And the other thing that a die does that a cutter does not do is it puts a nice rounded edge around all the cuts. So it embosses basically. So as an example, this one, whoops, let's do it this way. There we go. Isn't that pretty? That's beautiful. As beautiful as you'd buy in the store as actual fabric or threads. This one is done by Desiree, and it's a company based in Europe. It's actually over in London and the UK, and you can get them at Hobby Lobby and wait for their sales and wait for their 40% off coupons. If you sign up with Hobby Lobby, they will send you coupons via your smartphone. And that's what I do. And so that, or you can go online, you can buy them through them directly, but then you have to pay huge shipping charges, huge. Sheen, I believe it's S-H-E-E-N, is the name of the lady that does these dies, but the name of the company I think is Desiree. Anyway, there's one. Let me just go through a couple of these real quickly. There's one, and pull them out of here. I had them tucked away so they wouldn't get ruined. These are four of the most recent ones that I purchased. This one's a fun one. Again, this is a die cut, and it's fun because you can thread an actual ribbon in and out, in and out, in and out, however many. You can skip one, or you can go directly in and out, in and out. You can skip over as many as you want to get the effect you want. And this is actually only about 4 inches long, maybe 4.5. And so you'd probably want to cut 2 of them and hook them together on your card. So anyway, but it's really beautiful. I love it. And the end result is phenomenal. This is another one that's fun because it can be used in a variety of ways. One way you could use it is put it on a card. Let me show you. If you're making a card, you could use it kind of as a doorway. You could put it on just on the side as a corner. Isn't that beautiful? You could cut it so that it's this one on this side and one on this side, and have the doors open out, which is fun. Anyway, all kinds of things you can do with those. That style. And there's always multiple styles. This here's another one I really like because it's so like real lace. I mean, honestly, I'm sure you've seen things like this on old-fashioned garments in the old, in some of these old boutiques or Goodwill or Salvation Army. These old fringe lace on these really beautiful old dresses, or on wedding dresses. You'll see it sometimes. I love that one. So if you're in that romantic sort of mood and you want to make something really special, or if you have a wedding card, that'd be great for a wedding card or an anniversary card. So those are the ones that are die cuts. Now, another method that I just recently discovered that I just love is, it's going to sound weird, this stuff. Isn't that fun? This is, it says Alex here. Alex, I don't know if that's upside down or backwards. And it's by DAP, D-A-P. And it is, it says, and you have to really make sure if you go into like a store like a Home Depot or whatever, can't pick up any DAP because they make a variety of choices. Never get the silicone one. It'll destroy your molds. You get DAP, and you get, it's called DAP Trim, in white DAP trim, and it says Painter's Acrylic Latex caulk. So it's the latex you want, the acrylic latex. Do not get anything that has silicone in it because you will destroy the molds, and I'll explain that in a moment. And this says a 25-year, and it's paintable, easy water cleanup, flexible, and easy to apply, all of which is very, very true. So that's what you need to go for. I don't know if you can see that. It looks backwards to me. Painter's Acrylic Latex Caulk. So it's caulking that you would use, painters would use around a flooring or, you know, I don't know, around a doorway or something if they're trying to seal it, or a window, of course, around a window. So before I start using it, I want to show you how you use it. These are, you can go online. I went to Amazon, of course, my favorite store, and I bought, this is one of them. It's a silicone mold. These are very reasonable. I think, you know, between $5 and $8. Some of them are more than that. Some are up to $15 and more than that. It depends on where you buy them and how you do them. And this one is still a little wet, so I'm not taking this one. I can take one out. Okay, I'll try that. We'll try taking one out. This one here looks like it's trying to peel away. So I'm just going to very gently, hopefully without breaking it. Ta-da! 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 And see, it pops out. Now let me show you how beautiful it is. I'll do it on a black and white. Kind of hold it here in the center. Isn't that something? Isn't that amazing? And so it's 3D. So on a card, and it's tiny. And there were some reviews on this particular mold, several molds, and they were expressing their disappointment in the size of it. But I think they were thinking it was going to be used for a wedding cake or a cake of some sort. And on a cake, it would be pretty tiny, and you'd have to use a whole bunch of them. I mean, it could still be used. It still be very beautiful, very delicate. You could use it on cupcakes. But once you use it for this stuff, I wouldn't use it for a food source in the future. But people use like a rubberized kind of, not a rubber, but a flexible fondant sometimes to use these on cakes and things. And anyway, it's so beautiful. And so that's one. Here is another one, looks quite similar, except it has more of a fleur-de-lis at the top. Can you see that? Kind of a fleur-de-lis. Now, notice this little goopy stuff here. I like to use these scissors. They're like a little toenail scissor. And this one, I don't know if it has a brand name. I don't see any brand name on it. I got it at a craft store, and it's my go-to for scissors because it's curved. See that it's curved? There it is. See, it's curved. So I'm just going to carefully go up here and cut that part off. And I'll show you how that happened. That really shouldn't be happening, but I was a little in a hurry when I was making these last night. It was late, my only excuse. So you just cut them off. And you can also pick some of that off with your fingers. What that is when you're putting the DAP on, you put it on, I'll do that in a moment, and then you scrape it like this. And if you don't get it scraped close enough to the edge, then you see all these little pieces here and here and here, and like right here, it actually attached to that piece. Actually, it was this one up here, I think, got attached. And so you can actually see some of it still there. So that's why some of it came off. So if you put your spatula on it, and it's like a cake spatula, and you just go as close to it as you can, and maybe wipe your spatula off with, I actually wipe it onto a new one, onto a new silicone mold so I don't waste it. But then wipe it off with a piece of wet towel, wet paper towel or something, or a baby wipe. And that way, when you go back over again, it's a nice clean thing. So that's one. Here's another one that people complained about because, honestly, I read the reviews and they were just one was so disappointed in the size. And I admit, it's extremely tiny. These are itty bitties. But oh my goodness, they are so great for card making. They may not be great for her purpose for a cake, but once again, hold it up there if I can. Beautiful little fleur-de-lis. So like for a corner embellishment, wouldn't that be perfect for a little fleur-de-lis in the corner? So I'm going to be using these along with some lace. Now let me share with you the lace. This is the lace. Isn't that pretty? See? And I'm going to put some black behind it just so you can see it. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that lovely? A little doily. Not big enough to be used. I suppose you could use it like for a demi-tasse cup or something like that if you're having a tea party or something. But for crafting, oh my gosh. And you could cut it in half, in quarters. You could cut it into quarters and use just a quarter of it in a corner. Flip it and have corner, 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 which I might do. Now, that's one of them. Let me show you two more laces, and then I'm going to show you how I actually did it, well, how I pull it off, and then, because you have to be careful when you take them off of these molds. This one, I was so excited to try this because it's such a fun thing to play with. This one, look at that. Is that a beautiful lace or what? Wouldn't that be gorgeous on a card for, again, for a wedding or an anniversary? I'm only using black because this is, it comes out, I'm using a white DAP. Now you can paint this, but that's why I'm using the black background. It's just so it has a clear definition so you can see. And it wraps so easily. And you could just use your double-sided tape to tape that down. Easy peasy. It's so great. I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to start making some cards with it. And then the last one I have that I, again, out of this set that I bought, is this one. The other person that makes silicone molds is Tim Holtz. Is making a few, not very many so far, but I love his molds. They're quite deep, and they're great for this product, for this DAP product. It's the one best thing I've found so far to use with the molds. Isn't that pretty? If you try to use clay or things like that, they get brittle and they can break when you try to take them out of the mold. That's why I don't like those. But this stuff it's flexible when you take it out. You'll see. It's so fun to work with because it's endless, the possibilities. For painting it, I'm going to try, not on this one, I might leave white just because I think it'd be nice as a white one. On some of these, I'm going to play with, and I may try, like on these, like on maybe on this one. I might try first going over it with just a black acrylic. This is just a black basic acrylic color paint, just paint 101, and you can get any stores. And paint black first, right? And then go over it either with one of these rubs. This is called Rub and Buff. I got it it's an antique gold. I got it at Michael's. This one here is an antique Rub and Buff, and I got it also at Michael's. It's called Autumn Gold. That's a real pretty one. It's not copper, but it's a dark gold. And this one is just a plain gold. Again, they're called Rub and Buff. And so, so you first paint it black, and then you just put it on your finger and just kind of gently rub over the top. And it's awesome. Okay. So I'm just kind of going over some of these ideas. And the other way you could, I'll try this one, is Distress Spray Stain, Tarnished Brass. And this is a Tim Holtz product. And you just shake it, you can hear it. It has a little ball or something in it. And then you just spray it on, little spritz. The other gold product that I use a lot of sometimes are these little guys. Again, Michael's carries them, Joann's carries them. I think Joann still does. Hobby Lobby carries them. So, same thing, just rub them over the top. And you could do white and gold, would be real pretty, especially for like a wedding or an anniversary. So you could just leave it white. And well, let's just do that real quickly. Let's just try a gold one over it. See how it did. Well, that's kind of nice. Okay, so I just brushed it right over the top. It's upside down, but there, a little bit of gold. Can't see it very well in here, but put a little more on it. You see there's gold on it? Anyway, there's gold on it. It shows up more in real life than it does on the camera. Anyway, so now I'm going to show you how, let me show you this other mat because it's pretty impressive. And then I'll show you how I will actually do one online here. So I'm just going to show you. I'm going to center this a little bit more. I'm tilting you down. Bye-bye. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, see? Right here? This is how you put it on. You put the DAP on. And we'll do that in a second. But when you take it off, you start with just one little piece. So let's say we're starting over here. You push up from the bottom with your finger, just gently. You don't want to poke a hole through it. Just gently, not with your fingernail, but with your finger. And you just kind of try and lift it off a little bit. Once you get it lifted, see, it kind of wants to pop up a little bit. And then when you try and pull it off, I've already lifted some of this. Just be very gentle and kind of work it slowly back because you don't want to rip it because it's very delicate. It has very fine filaments, and I'm going to give you a close-up on this so you see what I'm talking about, the filaments. Do you see the itty-bitty filaments between like the roses? Those are teeny tiny things. You don't want to break those when you take it off. And look how well it came off in one piece. It's amazing to me. And it is flexible. It is flexible and it's easy to cut. It's very thin. It's as thin as lace. So now I want to show you how this stuff works. So you need a caulking gun. Now my understanding is they sell the same product somewhere, not at the store that I shop at. They sell it in a tube that you can squeeze. Now I also have arthritis, so it's our beginnings of, so I'm glad I have the caulking gun because it comes out pretty easy with that. Watch it make a liar out of me. So I think we'll start up here with this one. I'm just going to go, look how easy. That's just one squeeze. I'm going to do another one here. Another one here. I don't want to do too many. I don't need that many of them. And I'll show you how this one works. And this one, we're just going to go across, back and forth. Okay, so we'll start with these. And you just use your spatula. Move this over a little bit more to the center. So you can see, oops, I guess it's the other way, this way. Okay. So we're going to go like this. You just kind of make sure it gets in there in all the little spots. And you can see there's extra left over. Now, if you leave that, that's how you get those things. You have to make sure it's totally filled, but also totally clean around the edges. This is where I said you don't want to waste this stuff. So just bring it on over to the next one. And if there's extra on that one, you take it to the next one. And I'm going to go back and make sure this is completely cleaned up around the edges. But it doesn't dry immediately, so that's the good news. You can go back and fuss with it. Ooh, there's a lot on that one. I think I'm going to take some of this over here. See, easy peasy to put it on. Not hard at all. And it's an easy cleanup. Just clean it up with water. It's fine. No moss. Oops, no mess, I should say. I think no más means no more in Spanish, I think. It's amazing how many different languages we pick up over the years just from the usage that we hear. I know in Europe people speak a lot of languages because you get a lot of crossings of different cultures across their borders, and so people are constantly... I know when I traveled over there when I was younger, a lot younger, pretty soon you picked up the languages real fast, really fast. It was survival. You had to know what they were saying. Okay, so see, it's like spreading frosting, or, you know, now imagine if this was fondant. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun? And then you just peel it off the same way. And it's not fondant per se. There's another, I have a recipe for it actually, because I have a whole bunch of molds that I use for cake decorating, and they're quite similar. What I like about these is they're very thin, very thin. And I may get another set just for cake decorating and see how long it is. So you could go halfway. This is, I think, 18 inches. And so you could go halfway around the cake and then halfway around the cake again to make like a circle around the cake. And wouldn't that be beautiful? And how easy would that be? First, you'd lay fondant down. You'd lay a layer of just plain fondant down. And then after you got the fondant down, you would then go in with your with a layer of this over the top, you know, kind of around the edge as a like a lace around it, around the edge. So I just want to make sure that you see how it's done. This one has a little bit of old stuff on. I gotta get that off there. Da, 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 da. Okay, so there, see how clean? You got to make sure it's clean between. You don't want to leave any of that stuff in between or anywhere it's not supposed to be. It's like right there, there's a little bit here. I'm going to try and get up. There we go. Has to be a clean application. And that's true with anything, whether you're using this other paste, edible paste that is meant for this kind of thing. And the thing about this paste is that the reason it's kind of a fondant, but it's not. The reason is it's rubbery like this. I mean, it's flexible like this. This stuff is flexible, not edible, but flexible. And the stuff I'm talking about that you can use on cakes and use in these molds is also flexible. And I bought so many of those. I should get back into that because I really did enjoy it. But I'm diabetic and I can't eat cakes. I'm not supposed to. And my husband can only eat so much cake. So, but I might try it again for fun. Okay, so there. So I'm not going to go the whole thing because I don't want to bore you. But that's how it is. And then you just let it dry. So see how much you can get? And you could do this whole thing, and then you could cut it in half or maybe even thirds for a card. And you could get a lot of mileage out of this. In fact, after I turn the camera off, I think I will fill this out the rest of the way so that we have a full length of it. I just think it'd be so much fun to play with cards. So I just wanted to share that. Coming back up. La la. Hi. So, thank you for being with me, and I hope you enjoyed the sharing of this particular new toy. I love it, love it, love it. I hope you do too. And again, if you just go on Amazon and search for silicone molds, silicone, S-I-L-A-C-O-N-E, I think, silicone molds, M-O-L-D-S, and it'll come up with a slew of them. And just try to get things that are a little bit thinner. These others are a little thick, and Tim Holtz are real thick. He has things like keys and hearts and lockets and things like that, and they're fine for certain things, and for like steampunk, they're great. These are also nice because you could use them in so many different ways. But again, see how thick that mold is? It's going to take a long time to dry. So on something like this, you need to wait at least 48 hours. I fudged on 24 hours to pull these out for you because they were a little thinner. I could tell they were a little thinner. But this big guy here is going to take 48 hours for that one. And this as well. See how thick as compared to that. Can you see it? So this, of course, will go with it. And this one, too, you know, I was pushing it on 24 hours on this one. So let it dry. Give it time. Be patient if you can. It's not always easy. It's not my middle name. So I guess that's about it. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. And I look forward to being with you next time.